Your LED headlights are probably making your night driving worse, not better. And the $40 you just spent is the exact reason why. Hold on a second. That is a hot take even for you, Dean. You gotta say more about that.
Look, most people swap out their stock halogen bulbs for LEDs because they think brighter automatically equals better. And they are completely wrong. More than half of them end up with a beam that scatters everywhere, glares straight into oncoming traffic, and actually throws way less usable light down the road than the $12 halogen they just ripped out.
Okay, fair point, but before you go yanking anything out of your car, there is one specific number printed on almost every LED box on Amazon that is functionally a total lie. You've definitely seen it. It's usually the absolute biggest number on the package. In about 2 minutes, we are going to show you what that number actually means and why trusting it is exactly how people end up wasting their money.
Let me tell you a quick story first to put this in perspective. So my neighbor Dave, right? He's got a 2016 F-150, stock halogens. And honestly, at night, those things were about as bright as a birthday candle. So Dave watches a single tutorial online, drops $40 on some no-name LED kit with 20,000 lumens per bulb plastered in the title, installs them in his driveway in 20 minutes, and calls me over looking all proud of himself. We roll out that night, and I kid you not, the very first oncoming truck flashed his brights at him. Then a second one did, then a third. And here's the kicker. Dave could see the 10 feet right in front of his truck's hood brighter than ever before. But the street signs down the road, totally gone. The deer standing on the shoulder, invisible until it was almost too late.
And that isn't a metaphor, man. That is literal physics. That story is basically this entire discussion in miniature. So let's actually answer the big question right now. Do LED headlights improve visibility? Yes, but only under very specific conditions. Miss those conditions, and you are literally paying for a downgrade.
Let's start by looking at that number on the box we mentioned, because this is where absolutely everyone gets lied to. The lumen. A standard halogen bulb puts out about 1,000 to 1,500 lumens, and we're talking real, actually measured lumens here. Now go look at a cheap LED kit online. It's going to claim 20,000, 40,000, or even an insane 60,000 lumens for a pair. And that right there is the lie.
Right, because here's the thing. When independent testers actually put those exact bulbs on a testing machine, the $40 kit that claims 20,000 lumens measures closer to just 2,000 to 4,000. That massive number on the box is usually a combined pair number, a purely theoretical maximum the chips could handle in a lab, or honestly, just completely fabricated marketing.
Let's look at some real numbers from a testing site like Bulb Facts to prove this. Take the Morimoto 2-stroke 3.0. This is a premium high-end bulb. It claims 2,600 lumens, and it actually measures about 2,000 per bulb. And that is a $200 set. So if a $40 budget bulb claims 10 times that output, you can do the math on exactly how honest that sticker really is.
But wait, even real lumens don't tell you what actually matters, because lumens only measure total light output in all directions. What actually keeps you alive at night is lux. Lux is how much light actually lands on the road, way downrange, exactly where that deer is standing. That's why asking about brightness is completely the wrong question to begin with.
Spot on. So the second thing, and this is the trap people constantly fall into, is color temperature. That is the Kelvin number, your 3,000, 5,000, 6,500. Your standard stock halogen is going to sit around 3,200 Kelvin, giving you that warm yellowish white color. A quality OEM factory LED sits right around 5,000, and those cheap Amazon kits, they push 6,000 to 6,500 Kelvin. That's that stark blue-white light that looks absolutely amazing on social media.
And here is the twist nobody tells you about. The bluer the light, the worse it performs in actual real-world driving conditions. Blue wavelengths aggressively scatter in rain, fog, and snow. So the next time you're caught in a massive rainstorm on the highway, just remember that that cool 6,500 Kelvin bulb that looked so sharp parked in your driveway is actively working against your ability to see. 5,000 to 5,700 Kelvin is the actual sweet spot. You want white light, not blue.
Exactly. And now we get to the real fundamental reason Dave's truck was such a disaster: the housing itself.
Yeah, this is the part where most people's eyes tend to glaze over, but listen up, because it is the entire answer to the problem. Your factory halogen headlight is an incredibly precise optical system. The tiny little filament inside that bulb sits at an exact calculated focal point, and the reflective bulb behind it is perfectly shaped to throw that light into a very precise pattern. You get a sharp cutoff line, a bright hot spot way down the road, and zero light spraying up into other drivers' eyes.
You hit the nail on the head. A halogen filament is basically a thin cylinder that glows continuously in all 360 degrees. An LED, on the other hand, is a flat chip mounted on a circuit board that only throws light out of two flat sides.
If you take that flat chip and drop it into a reflector bowl that was shaped specifically for a round filament, the light source just isn't where the reflector expects it to be, so the beam scatters everywhere. The nice sharp cutoff line goes totally fuzzy, light sprays up into oncoming traffic, which creates that terrible glare, and that crucial hotspot that should be 200 feet down the road, it basically disappears. And that is the really cruel part of all this. Dave's LED actually looked brighter to him because all that scattered light was spraying literally everywhere, including straight back into his own eyeballs off the wet pavement and the foreground right in front of the truck. Your pupils naturally constrict to handle all that close-up glare, and because of that biological reaction, you actually see less distance down the road than you did before. Brighter and blinder. Here is where it gets super interesting, because the safety data actually backs us up in a way that surprised even me.
Oh yeah, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, the IIHS, they found that cars equipped with good rated headlights were involved in 19% fewer nighttime crashes and 23% fewer pedestrian crashes compared to cars with poor headlights. 19%. That's a real, tangible number that should definitely make you sit up and pay attention.
But, and this is an incredibly important but, simply having the tech doesn't guarantee you get the rating. To put that into perspective, the IHHS tested an older BMW 3 Series with halogen low beams. It only lit up about 130 feet of the road. A driver in that specific car would literally have to stay under 35 miles an hour just to stop in time for something in their lane. Now take the same generation Prius. They tested a Prius with halogens versus that exact same Prius with LED lights. The driver with the halogens had to drive 20 miles an hour slower to avoid a crash compared to the driver with the LEDs. So LED, when it is engineered right, is a genuine, proven safety upgrade.
Right, but when it's not engineered right, when it's just a cheap bulb shoved into the wrong housing, you can actually be far worse off than if you just stuck with stock. And that is the exact thing everyone needs to hear, because it's the absolute opposite of what the flashy packaging implies.
So let's talk about what actually works in the real world and what it costs, because this is exactly where my man Dean and I are going to start disagreeing.
Oh, here we go.
Look, if you want LED visibility done correctly, you have to buy a bulb that is specifically built to replicate the original halogen filament position. That means a super thin circuit board, chips positioned at the exact focal height, and usually a real active cooling fan. The Philips Ultinon Pro 9100 runs around $80 to $120 a pair, sits at 5,000 Kelvin, carries a 3-year warranty, and is properly engineered for a sharp cutoff. The Sylvania SilverStar ZXE LED will run you $60 to $90, or the Morimoto 2-stroke 4.0, which is about $70 to $85 and uses authentic Philips ZES chips. These are the bulbs that actually control their beam pattern. And here is my massive problem with every single one of those, Marcus. You just casually named $70, $90, $120 just to put a light bulb in a 2012 Corolla. Meanwhile, a top-tier quality halogen upgrade, like the Philips X-tremeVision or the Sylvania SilverStar Ultra, runs $25 to $40 a pair. And it gives you a real 60 to 100% more light output with an absolutely perfect factory beam pattern, zero glare for the oncoming traffic, zero CAN bus dashboard errors, and zero install drama. Yeah, but here's the thing you're ignoring. A halogen, even the really good performance ones you just mentioned, is still only putting out around 1,500 to 2,000 lumens, and it is going to burn out in a few hundred hours. A proper, high-quality LED runs for 30,000 to 50,000 hours. You will literally replace that halogen 3 or 4 times before the LED even blinks.
Fine, but you will also probably replace your whole truck before a $25 bulb financially hurts you. The point I'm making is if your budget is $40, the answer is absolutely not a $40 LED. It is a $30 high-performance halogen. The entire cheap LED category, your Farons, your Oxidos, your C-Lights, all those $22 to $45 pairs with those insane lumen claims, that is exactly where all the glare complaints are coming from.
I won't argue that point at all. Those budget kits are exactly what puts 70,000 people on a petition asking the feds to regulate LED glare. But here is the massive twist on that. The IIHS pulled almost 24 million crash reports from 11 different states, and they found that only 0.1 to 0.2% of nighttime crashes were actually blamed on headlight glare. Glare is annoying, for sure, but not being able to see is fatal. Okay, that's a real stat, and I totally respect it. But the guy in the oncoming lane getting absolutely blinded by you doesn't care about your IIHS crash data. So what do you actually tell people to do?
This right here is the advice we both completely agree on. And this is the big plot twist of the whole explainer. The right answer depends entirely on your housing,
not your wallet.
Exactly. If your car has projector headlights, that's the round glass lens that looks kind of like a fisheye, you are in luck. Because projectors have a physical built-in cutoff shield inside them that hides a lot of the messy light scatter from a slightly mispositioned LED chip. A good quality LED swap inside a projector housing can genuinely work really well, and that is the one single case where I'll actually tell you it's worth the extra money.
On the flip side, if you've got reflector housings, meaning just the big chrome bowl with no glass lens in front of the bulb, do not put a cheap LED in there, full stop. You will blind people and you will see worse yourself. Your only real options are a high-performance halogen bulb, or if you're seriously committed, doing a full projector retrofit. But that is a whole different conversation and a totally different budget. We're talking $300 plus and real serious install time.
And that perfectly sets up our common mistakes list, because these are the exact regrets we hear from drivers constantly. Mistake number 1, blindly trusting the lumen number printed on the box. Mistake 2, buying 6,500 Kelvin blue bulbs just because they look cool in the driveway, and then not being able to see a thing in the rain. And mistake 3, which is the really big one, putting a flat chip LED directly into a reflector housing that was designed specifically for a round filament. That one mistake ruins the upgrade for most people. And it's exactly why brighter actually looked way worse for Dave. Coming in at mistake 4, completely forgetting the rest of the lighting system. Foggy, yellowed plastic lenses literally eat 40% of your light before it ever even hits the road. Using a simple $30 headlight restoration kit on cloudy lenses is going to do way more for your night vision than a $100 bulb ever will. And finally, number 5, failing to aim. No matter what you install, you have to check your cutoff line against a wall at 25 feet. A properly aimed halogen will beat a poorly aimed LED every single time. So here is my final verdict. For most everyday drivers, the person in a 10-year-old car who's just trying to see a little better on the drive home from work, the absolute best upgrade is a high-performance halogen for $25 to $40, plus spending a weekend cleaning up your lenses. You keep the exact same beam pattern, you get real, measurable distance gains, no glare whatsoever, and no headaches. Save the LED money.
And here's mine. If you already have projector housings and you are actually willing to spend $70 to $120 on a real engineered bulb from a brand like Philips, Sylvania, or Morimoto, LED is a completely legitimate safety upgrade. The crash data literally says so. 19% fewer nighttime crashes for good lights. That is not a gimmick. Just don't cheap out, and absolutely do not put them in the wrong housing.
Do LED headlights improve visibility? Yes, if the bulb is precisely designed for your specific housing. No, if you just buy based on the massive lumen sticker. Your housing decides, not the price tag.
Match the bulb to the housing and you'll see further. Ignore that golden rule and you'll just see worse while causing everyone else to see spots. So before you hit add to cart on that cheap kit tonight, ask yourself, do you actually know what kind of housing